folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to Crowdsurfing. This is a show where we talk about Kickstarter and all the different board games that are on Kickstarter at any given time. Hey, if you want to be part of this show, simply email me and let me know at tom@dicetower.com. But meanwhile, let's get started, as always, with the news. Okay, so first we have Metaphor Dice. Poetry. This is where you roll some dice and you get a metaphor and then you build a poem around it. They put a lot of effort into this. Lots of poets are saying, hey, here's a poem, and they even show several, they're like the same dice rolled and different poems that people came up with. I am not a poet or even aspire to be one, so I'm not really sure if it's good poetry or not, or if you should be using dice, but either way, there it goes. Is that really a game? I don't know. Crypt. This is from the Road to Infamy company, which made the classic mistake of naming their company after their first game. But this is a smaller game, a set collection style game with dice placement, pocket size, and it's doing well. And I think this pocket size thing really has an appeal to people for getting any game. The King is Dead. This is a role-playing party game. They're describing it as Game of Thrones mixed with Mario Party. I don't know. It looks like it's hard to tell what the game is exactly from the website. It looks like you have a hand of cards. I'm not sure what the art of the game looks like really well. I'm not sure on this one. I'm not sure. Nothing here is really selling me on it. Zombicide Invader from CMON. Of course, this is a big explosive project. Looks like they're bringing in their other universe, the Xenos aliens from Xenocide, I think. And so this is Zombicide in space, essentially. And so instead of zombies, they're aliens, but it looks like it plays very similar. There are some cool things on this. There's some neat deck holders for cards. I wouldn't mind getting those for any game, frankly. There's a lot of Kickstarter exclusives, as there always is with the CMON project. And there's a lot of IP copying. If you go look at all the stretch goals, they show you all these different characters, and it's definitely Starbuck and Han Solo and the folks from Back to the Future, and I mean, it's really obvious, that sort of stuff. I'm not sure they needed to do that. I would have been content with made-up characters, but whatever. All right, my pick of the week is the pick of most people's week, and that is Fireball Island from Restoration Games. Almost 1 year ago, this was announced on our show. Super excited about this. Loved this game as a kid, or at least I loved the concept of it, right? The game itself wasn't very good. But the new game, the one that's on Kickstarter right now, is good. I know this because I played it. Not only have I played it, but you'll be able to see us play it live this coming Friday on our channel. But it's so much fun. It's kind of like a party game in a sense. You're just running around grabbing stuff to get points, and then you're flicking marbles and dropping them down these chutes and trying to kill people as they climb up the mountain and then get back up and go again. You like to see marbles roll down ramps? You're not sure which ramp they're going to roll down? This game is for you. It is so much fun. On Their Merry Way. This is a Robin Hood game. It's not really doing well right now, so I thought I'd mention it because I think it looks pretty interesting. First of all, I'm tempted by the theme itself. I do like Robin Hood, and it has some pathfinding sort of mechanism as you move around. Looks interesting. Fleet, the dice game. So we already have Fleet and Fleet, the card game, both good games. The original Fleet's probably the best. Fleet, the dice game is a roll and write game in which you roll dice and then you write things down. Think Yahtzee style. This is the most popular trend in gaming right now, I think. And this game looks like it's another good entry into that. And it looks like really good quality. The Estates Bid and Build. This is a game from Capstone in their Simply Complex line, which means the Tom Vasel other games too complicated. Please play these. It has some nice blocks as you're putting them there with a three-dimensional look. This looks really good. Street Fighter. This one's kind of blowing up on Kickstarter. It's from Jasco, and it's Angry Joe, a very popular YouTuber, is the designer of this. Has some really nice miniatures. Looks fantastic. Painted stuff. If you like Street Fighter, you're probably going to back this. Angry Joe has played a lot of games, so, he says the game is good. I think the proof's going to be in the pudding. Not sold on Jasco itself. Their Mega Man game was pretty bad, even though it looked fantastic, so who knows? All right, from Artipia Games, we have Kitchen Rush. This is the expansion for Kitchen Rush, Piece of Cake. It adds dessert, including ice cream. In fact, they have these little balls that you can use for scoops of ice cream as you're playing the game. All right, that's clever. Kitchen Rush was fun. Adding dessert will probably make it just as good. From Columbia Games, we have Pacific Victory. This is a huge war game set in the Pacific War during World War II, where America versus Japan. Japan is not necessarily trying to win, but just trying to get a negotiated peace type thing, just come out in a good situation. 9-panel map, very big block war game. Growl. This is supposed to be a better werewolf game in which you're passing cards to people all the time, and you're passing bite cards and things. People can see some of the cards you pass, they don't see some of the cards you pass, and you're just trying to persuade things. It's supposed to be like an active game, like in Werewolf, only the werewolves do something, and then everyone else just tries to guess who the werewolves are. This says it's more active. We'll see. I think Werewolf's a really good game, but I'm willing to see if there's a better one out there. From Bluebeard, Village Pillage is the game where you are simultaneously revealing things. Looks fun, small style game. Homesteaders 10th Anniversary. This is from Tasty Minstrel. Homesteaders is the game I think I first played from Tasty Minstrel. Really nice, good worker placement, change resource and other resources, build a little town thing. The original game was plagued with production problems. I mean, really bad production problems. If they fix that, then this will be obviously they're going to fix it. It's a Kickstarter, and so huzzah. From Quali, a dual Kickstarter, Factory Funner and Bigger, and Habitat's 3rd edition. Factory Funner is a game which is a sequel to Factory Fun, where you're placing tiles as quickly as you can, building this machine. Habitat's 3rd edition is the 3rd edition of moving animals around and building this little Habitat zoo in front of you. A game I really enjoy Habitats. Z Garcia really enjoys Factory Funner and Bigger. Here they are, both of them in the same Kickstarter. And finally, Ape Games has Rice Dice. This is a dice version or a card/dice version of Spirits of the Rice Paddy, a game I really enjoyed, which is kind of like build this rice paddy and move, water around in it to grow the rice, and using spirits to help you get special powers. This looks like the same thing, but a smaller version. All right, well, that's the news. Let's keep going.
Hi, and welcome to FOMO, where I take a quick look at a game that's seeking crowdfunding right now that maybe you have a fear of missing out on, and maybe I do too. Today we're going to take a look at Rice Dice. Rice Dice is a streamlined dice-based version of the game Spirits of the Rice Paddy, where players are striving to become the first farmer to grow 100 rice. On a player's turn, they will first roll all 5 of the dice and select an action to take. If they're unhappy with the first roll, they may re-roll all of the dice one time. However, in this case, any weeds showing will add weeds to the player's paddy cards, but no card can contain more than 2 weeds. After roll and possible re-roll, the player selects one of the following actions. Worker action. Using the worker symbols on the dice allow the player to spend workers to perform various activities. They may take any of these actions in any combination as long as they have the required number of workers available. Weed allows a player to remove 1 weed from a paddy for each worker. Harvest, a player can allocate a number of workers equal to the number of hexes on a card to a paddy that has already been previously planted and contains no water. This will allow them to gain rice victory points equal to the printed value of the card, but could be reduced based on weeds on the paddy. It is then cleared of all plants and weed tokens. Plant, which allows a player to allocate a number of workers equal to the number of hexes on the card and place a planted token. A paddy may not be partially planted, and the card must currently contain water on it in order to be planted. Card action. Taking the card action allows a player to draw a number of paddy cards equal to the number of card symbols showing, and then select one of these to place in their playing area. The new paddy must be placed either to the left of the first card or to the right of the last card. Players are limited to a maximum of 4 paddy cards at a time, but they may remove and replace paddy cards in their area. Taking this action may also modify the amount of water in the reservoir. Paddy cards, in addition to allowing players to have paddies to plant, grant abilities throughout the game as well. Water action. When taking the water action, all players at the table are first given an opportunity to release water from their paddy cards. Water flows from left to right, so players may move water down through their paddies. The non-active players at the table must end this with all their paddies that contain at least 1 water to be fully filled for the number of hexes, or release that water to the reservoir. After this, the active player may take water tokens from the reservoir equal to the number of water symbols shown and fill their paddy cards. After this step, any paddy cards that contain at least 1 water must be fully filled or that water is released. Note the water action can be taken by the active player even if no water symbols are present on the rolled dice. The dice also contain a question mark symbol that may be used as any other symbol except for the double worker or weed symbols. The dice are then passed to the next player and play continues. The game continues until a player reaches or passes 100 rice on the victory point track, and at that point they are declared the winner. So that's a brief look at how to play Rice Dice. Now what you saw in that video was a prototype copy that was a print and play that I did myself, so as such it's not the component you'll get if you choose to back the game. I encourage you to check out their Kickstarter page if you want to see those. As to the game itself, well, this is a streamlined dice-based version of Spirits of the Rice Paddy, and I think it does a really good job of taking the important core elements of that game and moving it into a quicker dice-based version. I really did enjoy this game, even as a standalone, if I ignore the fact that it's derived from that other game. I liked the meaningful choices that I make. I especially liked something in terms of when I roll the dice. I like that I still only choose one action, whereas a lot of dice-based games, I get to select multiple actions based on the dice I roll. And I like that I just still selected one action. I enjoyed the push your luck in the terms of the way I re-roll, and I have to now deal with those weeds if I choose to do so. And I like the way the water flowed down. I really just enjoyed everything about this game. I took a look at the artwork on their Kickstarter page and it looks wonderful. And I also really enjoyed the asymmetrical nature of the game, how it changes from game to game and just throughout the game as I select new paddy cards. Overall, this is definitely going to be a game that I'm going to back. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Rice Dice, and I look forward to seeing you folks next episode.
One of the things that always is amusing to me on Kickstarter is people's tendency to see failure if you don't meet previous expectations. So let's say, for example, I run a game called Awesome Terrific Game, and it makes $100,000. And then I run Awesome Terrific Game 2, and it makes $95,000. And people go, well, that was a failure. And I'm not sure why we think that, why we always have to think that each thing must be bigger and then better before. I mean, we've had some pretty big projects this year. We've had the Batman project. We've had the new Zombicide game, the in space one. What is that called? Zombicide Invader. We have these different games that are doing extremely well, making millions. But if they don't make what people think they should make, people look at them as a failure. Now, you know what? It's possible that they could be a failure financially. You know, for example, the Monolith said that the Conan game did not really make them much money because they had to make a certain amount of millions beforehand. But the fact is, I think sometimes we look for failure. We might not be happy if Company A makes a sequel to a game. We'd rather them do something different. And we're like, man, why did they make a sequel? Then when a sequel doesn't do as well as the first one, we're like, I told you. And I get emails about this. And people say, hey, do you think Company here, why did their latest Kickstarter only make $700,000? And my mind is a little blown by this sometimes because that is a huge amount of money. Let's take Hate. Everyone loved the hate on Hate. The game, I mean, it didn't help that CMON made a really bad trailer for this game. But everyone made fun of this game, but the game made hundreds of thousands of dollars. So in essence, it was a success. They had their goal. Now, I mean, granted, the company could be lying about the goal that they needed to get, and that's another topic. But if that was the goal they needed, and they exceeded the goal, and they exceeded it by quite a bit, then the game was a success. And I think sometimes we try to find trends. Not everything can go up all the time. You know, like, oh, the first game made 100,000, your second one makes 150, your third one makes 200, your fourth one makes 150. What's happening? Sky is falling. No, I don't get that at all, actually. And if the game funds and they're able to send you the game that you wanted to pledge for, isn't that good enough? Now, granted, I think some people can be frustrated because of the whole stretch goal thing, right? The companies will put stretch goals, way, way above the project's possibilities of making. And you see these things and you want these, and especially with companies with miniatures like CMON and Monolith, you get a miniature every so often and you're like, oh, if we had made so much more, we'd get more miniatures. This whole thing's a failure. But did you back it for all that extra stuff, or did you back it for the base game and what you want in it? Either way, I kind of find it interesting that so big projects, because they're not quite as big sometimes as a previous big project, even if sometimes they're like in the top 30 projects of board games ever on Kickstarter, are considered to be a failure. Tell me why you might think that in the comments. Anyway, let's keep moving.
Hi, this is Jamie Stegmeyer from Stillmeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about trust. Specifically, I'm going to give some examples for things that creators do, board game Kickstarter creators do, that can instantly lose my trust, or in a slow way lose my trust. I'll go over 5 or 6 different ways here. There are many, many examples of this on my Kickstarter Lessons blog. The first way a creator can lose my trust is if they don't communicate well. If they don't update on a regular basis, if they're not active in the comments of their own Kickstarter project, especially while the Kickstarter project is live, that can make me kind of suspicious of what they're really doing. Are they really investing their time and energy in this project? If there are no unbiased third-party reviews of the game on Kickstarter, it's hard for me to trust that the game will be good. I need someone else's unbiased opinion to see if the game will be good if I'm going to spend my money on it in advance. 3, if the creator comes across as an outsider. Now, this is kind of a weird thing to say, but because not everyone is involved in the game industry in the same way that I am, or maybe that you are. But if a creator, say, hasn't backed any other Kickstarter projects, they can come across as an outsider to Kickstarter. Can I really trust that they know what they're doing? Or in the ways that they talk about games and talk about their knowledge of games, they might come across as an outsider to the game industry as a whole, which may make me think that maybe they designed this game with having only played a few other board games and not a lot of other board games to have context to make it a good design. If the art and graphic design is bad on the project page, it's going to be hard for me to trust that those elements are going to be good in the final game. And just overall, if I don't have confidence in the creator's visual direction and art direction, I'm going to lose trust in other areas of their competence as well. If the creator talks about or doesn't talk about the production and the shipping of the game as if they've done their research, that's going to I'm going to have a big trust issue with that, because I need to know that they've done their research to know that how to ship this game, that there is a lot that goes into shipping and producing a board game. Not that a project page needs long paragraphs to describe how much they know, but just the little ways the creator can talk about it to show that they know what they're doing, that they've done their research. And last, I love when creators put the print and play of their game, or some version of the print and play, on the project page itself. This is a way, if the creator doesn't do this or doesn't even put the rulebook up there, I wonder, have they really gone through the blind playtesting process? Do they have a prototype to show? And whereas creators who do this give me the opportunity to look through those rulebooks, those print and play files, to see, okay, can I make sense of this game? Can I trust that this creator, this designer, knows how to build a board game that can even be played? So that can really help. I'm sure you have examples of things creators can do that can lose your trust quickly, and I'd love to hear about them in the comments or on my blog. Thanks.
Hey folks, Mark here, and welcome back to another Dice Tower preview recap. Randy, Ann, and I recently took a look at some new projects on Kickstarter. Now, these are paid previews, and it's our hope that we give you a real sense of each game. First up, we have Alakazoo. Alakazoo is a set collection and pattern building game. Additionally, you will be card drafting and rolling dice. To prove their skills in the magic domain, players will summon fantastic creatures, trying to beat their opponent and be the first to summon the beast. Are you powerful enough to impress the magic jury and reach for the title of Arcanimus? Alakazoo is for 2 to 4 players and brought to you by Creative Maker LLC. Next, we have Galaxy Hunters. In Galaxy Hunters, you take on the role of mercenaries hired by the Megacorps to hunt and harvest the rampant mutations. Featuring an innovative pilot and mech combination system, pairing different pilots with different mechs unlocks new powers and special abilities. Then, using money earned for harvesting DNA from the creatures, players upgrade their mechs with new weapons and items. All this seamlessly blends the excitement of crafting a unique character with the deep strategy of Euro-style worker placement. Galaxy Hunter is for 2 to 4 players and is brought to you by IDW Games. And finally, we have Imperius. Imperius is a dynamic game of card drafting, intrigue, and hidden information. Each round, players will draft cards, including their enemies' cards, ambassadors, assassins, elders, nobles, and even powerful variable events. After drafting, players then deploy these cards to planets with the hope of scoring and depriving their enemies of victory points. Imperius is for 2 to 4 players and is brought to you by Colossal Games. For more details on each of the games mentioned here, please check out our full previews and see if these games might be a good fit for you. And if you are interested in having your game featured as a Dice Tower preview, please reach out to Tom or myself. And keep an eye out for more previews in the near future. All right, folks, until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Hey, Board Gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with more Kickstarter Lagniappe. That's right, I'm bringing you projects that won't break your budget, but throw in a little something extra. Here's what I'm checking out this time. Each week I try to feature small box games with reasonable prices that hopefully pack some punch in the gameplay and give you a little bit of Lagniappe. And if they have a new or unique theme, hey, all the better. Well, Crypt by Road to Infamy Games definitely has the unique theme covered, and you can see it's a small box game. In Crypt, players are siblings whose father, the king, has died, and it's time to go down into the crypt and steal some treasure. The core mechanics are simple. It's set collection and some dice placement, but it's the dice placement that gives this a unique look. Players are given 3 servants. Okay, they're dice. And then you take turns placing those dice with any value you want onto the treasure cards that are down in the crypt. The higher the dice value, the more likely the bid will win that card. The starting player gets one last turn to outbid or place on an unoccupied treasure, then the cards are divvied out according to the bid. And each card has a different coin value. In other words, victory points. And they have different set icons, but here's the twist. Each player must then roll their dice servants. If they don't roll higher than the bid they placed, then they're going to lose that dice to the discard pile. Now you can modify the events by matching the sets to the cool character cards in the middle. It might even bring your dice back from total exhaustion. Crisp is a light, quick-playing game with fun art, and it's easy-to-learn mechanics. There's even some cool Lagniappe. Players get custom-colored dice because of some stretch goals that hit. Now let's take a quick look at the pledge levels. For $9, you get the base game with only $4 extra for shipping to America, and it appears to be subsidized everywhere else. Buy 2, and the second one even has free shipping. Hey, that might be the least expensive Lagniappe choice I have ever talked about. So that's Crypt from Road to Infamy Games, out on Kickstarter right now. What do you think of this one? Let us know in the comments below. And until next time, laissez le bon temps rouler.
And that's it. All right, well, that's another crowd surfing. Thanks so much for watching, folks. Don't forget, like I said, Fireball Island will be playing that one live this coming Friday. Mark Street is also putting up various previews of different games as we go throughout these weeks, and so you can always watch those. And of course, we have all sorts of things on our channel at Dice Tower. I invite you to watch them and check them out. But until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. See you at Dice Tower Con.